What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the BizDad Podcast. As always, I am your host, Adam LaPierre. Today, I am looking forward to having another good conversation with a great BizDad, Ryan LaPierre. We were just discussing whether I should call him Ryan LaPierre, whatever we want to, because people just make up things when your last name starts with law, like you and I. But Ryan, if you can, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about your family and tell us about your business.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Adam. Really appreciate the opportunity. So my name is Ryan LaPierre, and I am married to Hannah, and we have 4 children, Emma, 17, Julia, 14, Cooper, 11, and Tanner, 9, who will be 10 in 2 months. He corrected me last night at dinner. So we live up here in Northeast Ohio. We own a small farm with cows and chickens. And then in my spare time, I run a accounting firm. So it's a national accounting firm, Trillium Accounting. And we do contract accounting. So we act as your bookkeeper, controller, or CFO for your company, and really just help you as the business owner navigate through the financial piece of running your company.
Nice. All right. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah. So had a 16-year career in accounting prior, and then started the firm 2 years ago, June 30th. So
nice.
10 days ago hit our 2-year anniversary. So yeah, super exciting.
Welcome to the BizDad Podcast, where we dive into the melding of fathership and entrepreneurship with your host, the original BizDad himself, Adam LaPierre. Adam is a Christian, a former Air Force officer, a dad to 3 amazing kids, a coach, a real estate investor, and a business owner. On this podcast, he'll explore the unique journeys of amazing dads who are striving for greatness in both business and family. So whether you're a dad who is an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply a man striving to be a better dad, get ready as the BizDad brings you conversations to inspire, challenge, and equip you to be a better dad and entrepreneur. And now, here's Adam.
Well, I want to jump into the family side of the house. I think if I recall correctly, you and your wife have known each other since you were like kids. Is that right?
That is true. So we knew each other probably around the age of 7 or 8 years old. Both of our families homeschooled, and we were in a co-op, I guess you could say, together, and really just became friends and hung out. And I don't know if we had an official starting, we're dating each other. We were just always good friends and just hung out together. And so, started dating, I guess you could call, around 14 or 15 years old. And then decided to tie the knot after college. So I've known each other for a long, long time.
Wow, that's awesome. So, you were together, if you got married after college, so around 22 years old, and you'd already been together 8 years. So,
yeah,
awesome.
Exactly.
All right. So, not much you guys don't know about each other at that point, right?
Not at all.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like, were you guys both you guys are both homeschooled because you were in the co-op together? Like, is that something you guys do now as parents? You guys homeschool your 4 kids, or?
Yes, it is. Yes, we decided to start homeschooling. Actually, we've talked, known each other for so long. We knew we were going to homeschool, and we wanted to make sure that we were instilling in our kids the foundation life principles at an early age. And as our kids have gotten older, for instance, my 17-year-old, we're going to let her go to the public school system this year. And, we were taking each kid at a time and deciding, when they're ready to make that move. Really, we wanted our daughter to take the college prep courses in the school and prepare her for wanting to go to Ohio State to study animal science. And so there was some things that the public school offered in that arena that would be really beneficial for her. And so we've, decided to make that move. And then, my second oldest daughter, we're kind of talking about it and seeing what the plan is, and we'll make that decision as it comes. So, but wanted to start out definitely in the younger years, homeschooling, and it's been really great.
That's
and I give go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say, and I give my wife, 100% of the credit on the homeschooling part. She's kind of taken that and just ran with it, and it's super proud of her and what she's been able to do with the kids.
Hey, everybody, wanted to step in to discuss something. If you're anything like me, you've ran into some time in your business where you feel a little overwhelmed with some of the mundane tasks that eat up your valuable time. You're working more in the business than you are on the business, right? If that's you and you're hearing this and you're saying, boy, it is time to reclaim some of my schedule back, to focus on what truly matters. You want to get time back with elite remote talent with zero time zone hassle. Check out one of my partners that I just recently partnered up with, WiseVAs.com/Adam is where you go to check these folks out. Delegate $10 an hour tasks to focus more on the $1,000 an hour tasks, the things that are really transforming your business. Get rid of some of those transactional things and do some more of the transformational inside of your business. So again, schedule your free strategy call at WiseVAs.com/Adam. Wise, WiseVAs.com/Adam. Again, let's get rid of some of those transactional tasks and move them into transformational tasks. It's been a phenomenal team to work with. I really look forward to sharing them with you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to discuss with you what's going on as well. But again, WiseVAs.com/Adam. Thank you very much. And now back to the episode. Yeah, we'll see. For me, like I told you before we started recording, at the time that we're recording this, my wife's retirement ceremony is in 2 weeks. So I've been doing the homeschool the last 2 years. So we're getting ready to start our third year. And it's like, we'll see. My wife has always wanted to be a teacher. When she retired, she was like, hey, when I'm done, I want to be a teacher. And I said, what better students could you possibly have than your own kids? And what worse students could you possibly have than your own kids? So I guess we'll see how this goes, right? So, time will tell how it all turns out. I'm still going to be here. I still work from home. I'm still, looking forward to it. But it's one of those things that I want to homeschool for as long as it makes sense for our family.
Yes.
And as long as it makes sense for our family, let's keep on going. If it gets to a point where it doesn't make sense anymore, then we stop doing it.
Exactly.
I'm not necessarily married to it that I think this is the only way you can do it, but man, oh man, does it make a lot of sense when I like to travel and go places and see things, and they like to travel and go places and see things, and I like to be an involved dad and be around and all the stuff. So when you were working 16 years inside of a business and you guys were homeschooling, how did that look? What did that look like for you going into work every day, coming back? Like, I don't know what that's like because I'm homeschooling myself from here and I run a business from here. But how did you guys kind of start to work through some of those issues of, well, dad's gone for a long time or whatever the case may be that other entrepreneurs that are maybe listening to this aren't really used to?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually the answer is why I started Trillium Accounting. But let me go back. Obviously, when you graduate in accounting or with an accounting degree, you've got to kind of do your time behind bars in a sense at a CPA firm, right? And you've got to spend long hours in doing taxes and audit. And so I did that for 6 years. And unfortunately, it was, January through March. Dad, you're probably not going to see Dad very much. Yeah. And I never enjoyed that. And then from there, stepped into the corporate world and very quickly climbed the corporate ladder. And at 33, 34, I was CFO of a North American automotive manufacturing company. And again, climb the corporate ladder, the hours get longer, and money was great. The position was great. The businesses, being in the corporate world was great, but it just came to a point where I was missing practices, heavily relying on my wife to bring the kids everywhere. And it just wasn't, I knew it wasn't right, and just didn't enjoy it, and knew that my kids, they're only going to be around short while before they're off to college and starting their own lives. And so that's ultimately what made me decide, or my wife and I decide to jump off the deep end and start my accounting firm. And so now, I can set my own schedule. And if the kids have a ball game, guess what? I'm going to the ball game. If I have to bring them to a practice midday. Sure, let's go training, whatever. And so it's been super nice to be in and around my family more as an entrepreneur than previously in the corporate world. So super thankful.
Do you feel like, especially your two older ones, right? So they spent, I guess it's 15 and 12 years with you working full time, and doing all of that. Then your younger ones, were only, 8 and 9 years that they were kind of in there. Do you notice a difference in how your two older girls are kind of receiving you being at home, doing all that versus, because you have two girls are the olders, two boys are the youngers, right? So do you see a difference in the way your girls are receiving you being home versus your boys receiving you being home? Okay.
No, I would say not. No, it's been welcomed, open arms. Hey, love that dad's home. I have a little office that's outside. It's like a 50-foot walk from my house, and they know when I'm in here that dad's at work, but I can easily walk over there and be with them. So no, I haven't noticed a difference. They all enjoy it, I think.
Yeah.
That's them.
Yeah, valid point. Yeah, when I first started this podcast, I kind of had a vision that I would have loved to have had the kids on the podcast for the first 15 minutes to ask some of those questions and see how they feel about their parents. But the only time to do that is Saturday morning, and nobody wants to give up their Saturday morning to sit down and talk with me. So, so I decided against that. So I just have to ask how people think their kids feel. It's like for me, I've got a glass door between me and the kids, so I had to put shades up so they don't see me back here. And it's Dad's behind the shades at least. The Wizard of Oz back here. Hopefully they're not opening the curtains and trying to see what's back there. But it's a different world for sure for working from home like this. For me, being in the military for so long, it was one of those. I was gone constantly. I was being sent all over the world, and I was like, I want my kids. I need to be an involved dad. If I'm going to continue to have kids, I want to be an involved dad who's here and is present and is providing influence to my kids. How did when you and your wife, obviously you mentioned that you guys were both homeschooled, so you knew that's where you wanted to go, but how did you guys get, did you guys have discussions on the philosophy of how you guys wanted to be parents? What it was that you were looking for, what things you wanted to, what core values you wanted to instill in your kids as they were growing up homeschooling?
Yeah. And that conversation came from a young age. My wife and I, we've known each other for such a long time that we were able to we both grew up really heavy faith-based. And so we knew what the foundation was that we wanted to establish as we were raising our kids. And, obviously we don't have it perfect and you learn on the fly, especially with teenagers. And so we're always learning and experimenting together. But it's been great. No complaints on how we don't look back and think, oh, I wish we would have done it this way. It's been really, really good.
Good. I will say though, you've ruined my record. I was always having perfect dads on here, and here you come telling me you guys aren't perfect. So well, my record over here. Right?
Sorry about that. I am far from it.
It's one of those things that I think as long as you're willing to realize that there's a time to pivot, there's a time to change, have the conversation. What should we be doing? What should we not be doing? And that's both in parenting and in life in general. I mean, you made a huge pivot going from work to entrepreneurship, W-2 to running your own business. How did that transition kind of feel for you two? What sort of stresses were added on there that you weren't thinking about? What sort of things were difficult during that transition? And what sort of things went super, super well?
Super well went, what went super well was the transition of not having to rely on my wife to have to do everything with the kids, whether that's sports or music lessons or whatever. There was this sense of relief of, oh, okay, Ryan, you can now do things and you can bring the kids. And it kind of freed up my wife from that regard, which in turn affects schooling. She can spend more time, preparing for each school day. So that went really well. I honestly can't think of a negative that we have really had to sit down and man, you're working from home. I guess the negative would be, Ryan, you're home, but you're still in your office. Maybe you're working a little bit too many hours. It probably is a negative. As entrepreneurs, that's what we do, right? There's always work, and we think if we get that one next thing done, we'll be ready for tomorrow. But the thing is going to be on your plate tomorrow and the next day and forever. So just me taking that mindset of, look, it's always going to be on my plate time to shut off the lights and walk the 50 feet to my house and be in the family is probably, I would say, the one negative, if you want to call it a negative.
Yeah, it is hard to put work away when work is at your house. Like, it's very difficult to kind of step away from that front. What about like financially speaking? Was that something that you guys were like, there's some nerves going like, oh man, because I'm sure there's people that are listening that are, maybe they're thinking about making that leap. They're in a W-2, they're getting paid well. But man, oh man, that's just such a risk to go out on my own, to go out and do these things like, financial risk. And what if it doesn't work? And what about all these things? And, how did you guys kind of work through all of those conversations?
Yeah, my wife and I were just talking about this. I made a comment to her that was, Hannah, if I knew how much cost would go into actually starting a simple business such as an accounting firm, I probably would have thought 3 and 4 times before jumping off the deep end. Yeah. You just don't know, right? As an entrepreneur, you have no idea. And so, yes, there has been some financial stress. But if you were to ask me as a whole, would I still go back and do it? 100%. That financial stress is so small compared to the better family life, in my opinion, that has come of it. So,
yeah, to me, it's very much one of those choose your hard scenarios, right?
Exactly.
Like working at a W-2 and not seeing your family all day is hard. So starting a business is hard. Which hard would you rather have? Which one is more fruitful for your life and what your desires are? Some people, the W-2 is. That's great. We need that. Yes. Some people, not so much. So
right.
Kind of
and
where you at?
In my case, 2 years ago, I had my oldest is going to be starting college in 3 years. And so, whoa, do we really want to do this? Right. But yes, we decided to do it and not concerned about it. Obviously it's looming, right. But it'll be provided. We'll be fine.
Yep. Very good. So as you've been starting the business, especially with the older ones, I love to, you're homeschooling. So your thought process behind education is probably different than what your average Joe is, or your average Ryan in your case. But what has your thought process been around like including the kiddos in business and helping them see what's going on and, having them take that 50-foot walk with you to kind of see what's happening inside this closed door?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they hear me talk about business all the time, and I try to keep them involved in conversations that is not, oh man, I'm lost out in your conversations, but just gives them nuggets here and there of what it looks like to run your own business. And I've actually had my oldest do some things for me for the business, just to kind of get her some experience. It's, simple tasks, but she's seeing how it works. Yep. And, I've preached education for since my kids could remember, but I don't want them to necessarily get a degree just to have a degree. That's not my intent. My intent is for them to go to college, have their viewpoint of life, or have them come up with their own viewpoint of life on how to run their life, by having doing it through college, so that eventually one day that they could start their own business, or if they want to enter into the corporate world, what that would look like, or teacher, or whatever they choose, that they would be grounded in college. And so, and a lot of times I've gone back and forth, whether it's a 4-degree or a 2-year degree, what do I want my kids to have? And ultimately it's what do they want in life? And would that attain a 2-year or 4-year degree?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think nowadays the way that I kind of look at it is education isn't necessarily the paper that was printed when you finished it, right? It should be a constant continuing
That's exactly
thing
right.
where, I know a lot of people don't have a degree at all, and they are like 140 IQ type of folks. It's like, okay, well, great. Like you're constantly trying to learn and grow and get better. And that's what I would rather encourage in my kids than, oh, well, make sure that you got your A and that you're pushing this and you're doing that. That it's like, hey, where do you want to be in life? What are you trying to go for in life? Like I push back on systems and processes all the time, which doesn't always go well when you're trying to go through school and knock all the things out. So, we'll see. It's just kind of odd for a military guy, but that's what I do.
Yeah, for me, I would love if my kids could think outside of the box and not have to step into a W-2 too career driven. Well, I've got to wake up, go to work 8 to 5, and this is just my life till I'm 60 when I can retire. Like, I'd rather than be able to think outside the box. My 14-year-old, for instance, wants to go to school for culinary arts. She's always talking about starting her own bakery. And so we're always having conversations of, well, how would school benefit from you? What major, minor would help you to be able to achieve that? You probably should do something in business so that you can keep track of your own books. The joke is, well, Dad, you'll keep track of it for me. But no, just trying to help them think through what it would look like to do what they want, whether it's being in an 8 to 5 or doing their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, to me, the biggest key is what do they want to do, and give them as many options as they can.
Exactly.
Like I tell people all the time, like I felt like, whether it was intentional or not by my parents, I felt like the military was the only option. Right. I didn't really think about, like college. I didn't even know that was a thing that could be on the plate for me. Right. It literally never crossed my mind to go to college, until I was in the military for a while. And I was like, oh, well, that's something I could actually do. I never even thought about that, like it literally never crossed my mind. And I was in a large school. So there was I'm one of, 400 people graduating. So they're like, that guy already signed up for the military. So they don't spend time to discuss with me about what colleges to go to or anything like that. It's, it is what it is. But I want to be able to open up that aperture for my kids in a way that I never had, for them to be able to go, oh, look at all of these options the world has for me. I don't care what the option is. Like my 6-year-old one time was driving around saying, hey, I would love to be able to drive that excavator every day. And I was like, great. What would you think about owning 7 of them? Drive the one you want, and you have a team that drives the other ones. And like, you could take a passion that you love, that you really want to do, and turn it into a business that is making way more, and that it's doing all these things. And it's just, it's a lot of fun to kind of discuss this stuff with my kiddos and work through it all. But I'm curious, what program do you guys use homeschooling, or programs probably? Ryan said, I'm the wrong person to ask.
I'm the wrong person to ask. As I said, I give my wife full credit for the homeschool. I do know that it's book based. I forget the name of it, but it's a lot of reading. And that's kind of the core of the program that we use.
Nice. Very good. Yeah. Reading, I think, is one of the best things to do. Like even through the summer, I have my kids every day. Well, most days. You're going to read something, you're going to do some math, and then do your chores, right? Those are the 2 things. Like
exactly.
If you can get some reading down, solid. Like there's a reason why my 6-year-old was already we were doing like one of those end of the year like exams that the state requires us to do even as homeschoolers. So like, hey, you need to check this stuff out. And there's this one thing where Rourke is a December, he's our 6-year-old. He's a December baby. So he was technically not allowed to be in kindergarten until this year. But already was doing most of the kindergarten stuff. We were like 1 month into kindergarten math, and he's like, Dad, we're not even doing math here. I'm just learning, like, I already know my numbers. And I was like, all right, so he did all the first grade math, and he knocked out all of first grade math in like 2 months. Yep. And then he was like, all right, so we get to the assessment thing. And there was something that was, I don't remember the exact math problem, but it was something along the lines of, what is 97 plus 43 plus 26, something along those lines. And because it just goes until you can't answer the questions anymore. And then he was like, and then he answered it correct, doing it all in his head, no writing anything down, no doing any stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. Like nothing you would have done sitting in a kindergarten class. You would have never been challenged enough to be able to do this. Yeah. If you're good at it, I want to chase it down. Like, let's go for it. It's so much fun to just watch what can be brought out just by the fact that you're challenging them and bringing them to a different spot. So I would imagine you've seen a lot of that with your kids.
Yeah. So my wife and I are actually avid readers. We try to read at least, I think my wife is the same number as me. We try to read 50 books a year. Wow. And so whenever my wife and I have a pause, or we actually just came back from vacation. We were up in Michigan on vacation and did a lot of reading. And so my kids are seeing my wife and I sit down with books. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how we don't have to say anything. And all of a sudden I'll look over and the 2 boys are just sitting on a couch with books in their hands. I'm like, perfect. So instead of the automatic thing it feels like the automatic thing for kids nowadays is like, let's click on the tube and or the game. Screen. Yeah, man, kills me. So super happy that they're kind of following and reading books on their own. And then my 2 daughters love to read as well. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And there was I forgot where the study was or the statistic came from, and I'm going to butcher it, but they're basically like the IQ of some kids can be easily correlated to how many books are inside of their house. Not even how many books they read, but literally just having the books in their house. Like walking by, being able to see books sitting there helps them engage them and bring them around to a different spot because they hear different words, they see different words. Because if you're the type of family that has books in the house, you're likely to have a different level of vocabulary. You're likely exposing them to different things that other kids just aren't. And it's it's tragic. I wish we could just send books to everybody, right? Like here's books to all the families, like just to go out and do it. I absolutely love it. But
it's funny you said that because right now in our upstairs, one of our upstairs rooms, my wife is going through one of the bookcases, and literally we have stacks of books on the ground that you have to pass by to get to the kids' bedroom. So they're seeing it.
Yeah. My kids have their own bookcase similar to this, only with just two rows full of books. And their bed is a bunk bed, and you open it up, and it's got a bookshelf in there that's full of books and all this stuff. And it doesn't even mean that they've opened half of them, right? But they're there. And one day they're gonna open it. Like the other day, we got these books for our 10-year-old called Who Is, and it talks about who is all these different different people. I walked in, I said, hey, let's get some reading in. And my son comes out. He's like, oh yeah, I'm reading about Ronald Reagan. Did you know that Ronald Reagan? And he was like reading the Who Is Ronald Reagan book.
Perfect.
And he's got all sorts of, he's got a Who Is Thomas Edison, Who Is all these different people. And it's like, you're learning history just sitting there reading a book. Plus you're getting a better vocabulary. You're learning about different things. It's a lot of fun to watch. I think there's a bunch of different Who Is books that I bought for him. On top of all the other different things. But what have been some of your favorite books for your kids? What are their favorite books, especially your boys? Because my two boys are the ones reading most right now. So it's partially a selfish question, but what are some of the favorite books that you guys have that the kids like?
Yeah. So one book series that my kids are going through right now is called The Sugar Free Gang. I don't know if you've heard of that. I don't know. There's probably 40 to 50 books in that series that I'm reading to the boys right now. Hardy Boys is obviously a big one. And then my daughter, she is into the British TV shows and British books, as well as my wife. That is something that they kind of that world that they hang out in. I'm not too much of a fan of that, but they
totally look like a British girls novel type of person.
Yeah, so right.
I guess not. Yeah. Deceiving.
And then me personally, I'm a real estate junkie, so I do have a lot of real estate books that I read, and then business books, and then I actually like mystery novels. So if I'm do a lot of running, and so when I'm have long miles to run, I'll turn on a mystery book and kind of get lost in the book, and I'll crank out 5 or 6 miles before I know it. So yeah, it's
Somebody told me I should start doing that, like listening to more novels, because I listen to almost only business, self-help, various different things like that. Some of them I don't get anything out of. Some of them I get a lot out of. You never really know, but I just like to listen to them and kind of work through them. But somebody's like, no, you should really try like novels, especially while you're on runs or you're trying to work out or things like that, because it just takes you into a different place.
Exactly.
Where when I'm listening to a business book, sometimes I want to stop running so I can take notes.
Yes.
It's like, I had an idea about this thing, and it's like, no, just let the story take you on the run.
That's exactly why I listen to mystery books when I run. It's because I just let the story take me, and I'll look at my watch and be like, oh my word, I'm 6 miles in. Okay. Yeah. Well, I probably should start heading home now. Right. And so, I mean, I wish I were exaggerating. That's really what happens. And so it makes running way more enjoyable.
I used to hate reading, period. It wasn't until I went to Afghanistan. So we're talking 2007, 2008 timeframe that I finally started like reading. And it was, so I've got a bunch of his books right here. Vince Flynn. Yeah. I love Vince Flynn books. Like one of the FBI agents I was deployed to Afghanistan with had given me one of their books. They were like, the two agents were talking about it, and they were like, oh yeah, you should totally like read it. I was like, I don't really read, but I'll give it a try. I smoked through that book so fast. I was like, this is awesome. Like I was playing the movie in my head. Like there was never a book in high school that made me want to play a movie in my head. Like this made me want to play a movie. And I was like, I don't know how people write like this, but this is great. This is so much fun. And it kind of makes me go, boy, I really want to find those those types of books that my kids can get engaged in. Because if they read, some of the books that I read in high school, they're like, you're going to turn into me and never want to read again, So, and I don't want that. I want you to enjoy reading because holy gracious, it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I asked that question, because if I can get them to, be engaged in some of that stuff, then awesome. Let's do it. My 6-year-old, I'll give him some time. Like he's still having fun with pets. No big deal. Have fun reading fun with pets. It's okay. But my 10-year-old, he's really all about it. I saw recently these books. Oh, I forgot what it's called, but it's something like Battles for Boys or something like that, where it like takes battles from history and kind of turns them into almost a fan fiction novel, but all based in the history. So like it's a novel written from a different person's perspective, as if they were going through this battle that was going on in history. So they get to learn about all the different sides and what was going on. And I was like, I'm gonna have to check this out. So I recently saw that, so I might be buying that for this year for school. So we'll see.
I'll write that down too. That sounds good.
It's called Battles for Boys. It's
okay.
That I thanks Facebook for throwing that in my face, but it'll be fun. So with the business, talk to me about you 2 years ago you decided to start this business. What was the impetus to push you down that route? So kind of how did the beginning stages of it go for you, kind of building it and growing it?
Yeah, I'll take you back. So when I was working in public accounting, my first 6 or 7 years, really developed a heart for small business, and tucked it away because I knew I needed corporate experience to be able to do anything if I was to go out on my own. I knew I needed, I needed to get my CMA, so certified management, be a certified management accountant. And then 2, I needed to essentially climb the corporate ladder, hold that CFO position, so that in my mind, I felt like my clients would take my advice a little bit better if I had that background. I know there's entrepreneurs out there that don't have that background. I've started successful CPA firms, so I'm not saying it's the golden key, but in my mind, I felt like I needed it. And so after going through, doing the corporate thing, and then really started thinking about who I wanted to service, again, small business popped up. And so that's where I decided to kind of put my niche. And so we do accounting for clients anywhere between 0 to about 10 to 15 million in revenue. Once the client is over 15 million, 20 million, that gray area, I'll say, I'll really start recommending that they hire a full-time CFO, controller, someone that can be there full-time for the business owner, because fractional at that point is difficult to do. You can't give them the level of service that the business owner needs. Now, in a lot of cases, what we'll do is we'll get to that conversation. The client will hire a full-time, and then they'll keep on us as more of a fractional, hey, can you just hop on and just make sure things are being done correctly, because they have the trust in the value, or they have the trust in what we've done up to that point. And so they want to make sure that just because they hire somebody else, everything doesn't crumble. And so we really just want to make the business owners' lives easier, as they're trying to drum up business, as they're on the operational side. We want to give them the peace of mind of, hey, okay, I know my accounting finance picture is being taken care of, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I love it. The finance and accounting part is such a pain in the butt for so many people.
It is.
They don't even look at their QuickBooks until March, and then they're like, I got to run through all my QuickBooks expenses from last year, if they even use QuickBooks. But what a pain. But you said something there that I want to pull a string on. And you said, in my mind, I felt like I needed to do X, Y, and Z. You felt like you needed to go get that corporate experience. You felt like you needed to climb that ladder. You felt like you needed to get that CMA. If you were to turn around and look backwards, sitting where you're sitting now, do you feel like all that actually was necessary? Or
Yes.
do you feel like you just, okay.
Oh yeah.
To get you to where you are right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that because of the types of clients that you've brought on, or is that, what is it that you say that, yes, that was necessary?
Yes, partly because of the clients I've brought on, but more so that I can speak to the business owner, to to have them feel comfortable with the knowledge that I know, because accounting firms, who you have in your accounting seat is all about trust. I mean, it's 100% trust. And if you as the business owner don't have that trust, it's going to be very difficult to keep that client or keep that controller or CFO that you have full time on staff. Yeah. And so the more I could, I felt like the more knowledge that I could portray that like, okay, Ryan knows what he's talking about, open the door to be able to start digging into that trust. So yeah, I would definitely feel that it was necessary doing all those things.
So part of the reason I asked is because when I was getting into real estate investing, kept telling myself, I needed this one more course. I needed to go to this one more conference. I needed it. Like there's something there that I just need this extra thing. And when I look back on it, I was like, no, what I needed was execution. Like I needed to go and do it. Like that was where it was going to happen, which is why I was kind of pondering if it was the same case for you or somebody else that's listening going, oh, well, I need 3 more years in corporate before I can actually go and do it. You have to figure out where that line is. And
that's exactly right.
Kind of how did you establish especially for the person that's in that spot trying to figure out what that line is? How did you establish like, now is that line? I've found it. I know where it's at. It's time for me to step away.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. 2 years ago, if you were to ask me that question, I would have said, man, I'd really probably like 3 or 4 more years in these seats to be able to feel like I'm being an asset to a business owner. But it was really the encouragement of both my wife and then a lot of friends that I pitched this idea to of, hey, I'm thinking about going on my own. What do you think? You think I'm knowledgeable enough? You know, I would pick friends that I've worked with before or have helped in their own businesses before. And every answer I got was, no, dude, go. You're ready. Go. You'll be fine. I don't know everything, and so I'm learning every day, and I still hit topics that I'm just like, whoa, that's an accounting topic I haven't heard of yet. But thank goodness for AI, right? I've welcomed AI with open arms into my firm. We use it every day. It's such a resource that is critical. Yeah.
Especially when you look at all the different regulations that are changing, all the different states you might be working with, all the different things that are happening. It's like there's no way that any CPA, CMA, enrolled agent, whoever is going to be able to know all of those different things to be able to help answer all the questions. But they need to know how to find it. They need to know how to dig into it. They need to know where to go to get those answers. So interesting. What has been one of the larger kind of complications that you've ran across where you're like, boy, this is one of those scenarios I wasn't thinking I would need to do. They like created a bit more of a puzzle game for you.
Hiring employees. That was, just because of lack of experience on what that looks like, because we are a national firm. So I've got an employee sitting in Iowa, for instance. I've got one sitting in Ohio. And so as I am onboarding these employees, what does that look like from a state tax, from, all of those things, and just trying to navigate that has been really challenging. The other challenging piece, I would say that the employees was probably number 2. The number 1 piece for me, and really it's just out of lack of experience in that area. So as a CFO, I managed a lot of departments, HR, the accounting department, in sales. But one of the things that I have not touched was marketing. It's just something that I just didn't know very much about. And so this 2-year journey has been more or less, yes, I can service clients. I can probably service clients in my sleep just because of my experience. But what does it look like to actually market, let alone in my area, but nationwide? How do I do that? And I still haven't arrived. I was right before this call, I was on another call, just trying to talk through and think through what does it look like for someone to come in and help me market. So that's been truly a struggle. I'm ready to go. I've built up the tech stack, as you've probably heard that term before, getting the softwares together. Trillium's ready to go if all of a sudden 50 clients were to come to me, but that marketing piece to get those 50 clients is where the struggle is.
For sure. And that's almost always where you need to go. Like what's the funnel bringing them in? Like what good is an amazing website and all this funnel set up and all this stuff that's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to really make a great impact on these people's business when you don't have a way to bring them in the door. Like you can't impact them if they don't know who you are. Right. So you gotta bring them in. And that is, when people are starting a business, especially if they've been working in W-2 world, it's very difficult to kind of wrap your head around, well, I don't know what I don't know. So all right, I guess I got to be around people that do know, or go find people that do know. And this is where hiring and firing makes a massive difference. You can hire and fire the right people, like that's where you're at. Sometimes it's a virtual person. Sometimes it's a person that needs to be right next to you. And like, how do I know the difference? What do I need to know? Like, I don't know what to do. And we were funny. We had a meeting this morning and we were talking about that with one of the guys because he had just created this. He's a cosmetic dentist and he created this, or his partner is like the developer of this specific kind of teeth to help folks with the veneers and all these things, but it's a higher level of all this stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, well, these sales calls and all of this and all of that. And it was like, well, have you even talked to all the dentist office that you can? Like, bring them all in. Like, it doesn't matter all of the stuff that you've done over here unless you have all of these dentist office that you've communicated with and talked to them and they want to talk to you. Like, and that's not something you're going to go do. You're the visionary, you're the owner, you're a dentist already. How do you hire somebody to, oh man, we need to work on X, Y, and Z, it's really cool. I mean, he'd already been working on it. So I'm making it sound like he didn't know what he was doing, but he very much did. But, it's things you don't think about as you're creating a new business until all of a sudden you have to do them.
Someone, I was at the call this morning, someone was like, are you talking to CPA firms? And of course, in my brain, I was like, well, yeah, I'm talking to CPA firms around my area. Like, you're a national firm, right? Yeah. Well, why don't you just hire somebody to cold call all the CPA firms, like start in one state and just go down all the 50 states and just cold call? Like, yeah, didn't even dawn on me. Like,
Yeah. And that's, I'm in a group called GoBundance and I love it. And it's all a bunch of entrepreneurs. They've got GoBundance men and GoBundance women. And, clearly I'm in the men's side of the house. But it's great to just sit down and hear everybody's ideas and hear everybody talk about it. Like that's what we were doing this morning. I mean, 12 dudes in a room and we're in a whiteboard and we're going over everybody's big problems in their business. And you're like, boy, I like the fact that we just solved that person's problem, helped me figure out a problem in what I'm doing. That's and like, awesome. I didn't think about that business idea on what they're doing. Like, is completely different than what I'm doing, but man, oh man, I can see the parallels and figure it all out. And it's so much fun to just kind of be around that growth and that thought process. So, it was a lot of fun. Next time I'm going to have to cater lunch though, because we were all getting pretty hungry by the end of that one because it was a long one. It was great. So what is your thought process now? Like, what's your 5-year vision for the company? Where are you trying to grow it to? How many clients? What, take it from there.
Yeah. Clients is unlimited. I don't want to stop growing. I want to, unlimited. But my game plan is to be able to, in the next 5 years, open a tax practice alongside the contract accounting. I want to be a one-stop shop for small business owners. And so I don't want to have to field the calls of, we can do your accounting, but you're going to have to go find somebody to, do your tax work for you. So that I hope to solve in the next 1 to 2 years. 5 years, I hope to be working on the firm, not in the firm. So I do client work right now. And my goal in the next 5 years would be to be able to onboard enough clients where I can hire a manager of some sort and have them kind of manage the business. And then I can go out and sell, really is what I would love to do. And then be available, obviously, to my employees for questions or difficult accounting topics or whatnot. So that's the visionary. We'll see what happens.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, it's if you're putting the right things in place now and you're writing it all down, then it's more likely to come true. Are you kind of building all of that out? Is it all written down? Have you kind of established what this looks like? Like these are my quarterly rocks to be able to make that happen?
Yes, I have a plan.
Not a lot of confidence there.
There is. The reason I'm hesitating, is because in my type of business, cash flow is king. And so if I can achieve those cash flow targets, then yes, everything will fall right in line. And right now it's on pace, right? We're hitting every target that I've built and established and we're going. So, the first 2 years, I I think the standard industry is to have 6 years per client. If I remember my numbers correctly, it's about 6 to 8 clients per year. And we are on client, I think we just did client 18 or 19. So we're
Nice.
we're growing past the industry standard, which I'm super, super happy about.
Okay, that's awesome. How are you finding a majority of your clients?
Word of mouth right now. Word of mouth, and then I actually belong to a group called BNI, Business Networking International, and our group meets out of here in a little town in Northwest Ohio, and really has connected me with a lot of the business owners in this area. And so referrals have come from that source. LinkedIn is we do 2 to 3 posts a week on LinkedIn, and so I've gotten some referrals from there. And then I've got a huge network just from being in business for so long. Just have a huge network that referrals have come from. So we just put out our first newsletter this week, so super happy. If you want to be a part of that newsletter, there's a little button on my website that you can click and get it. But yeah, super happy to put that out. So hopefully that kind of sparks, a lot of times it's being on the minds of all of your clients 24/7, right? And, I need an accountant. Oh yeah, I just saw a newsletter come through. You need to go talk to Ryan. Yeah. So just trying to be present with all of my contacts, and felt like a newsletter was something that we needed to push out.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. So if somebody's hearing this and they're kind of like, I don't really know, I think of my accountant more as that guy that does my taxes. What is it that kind of separates you from that guy that just does my taxes at the end of the year?
This is the most popular question that I get, so you nailed it. I kind of think of it as past and forward thinking. Okay, tax return is always going to be past thinking. You are solving a problem for the previous year. You are trying to get a task done. I need to fill out this tax return and get it done. Our firm bases our accounting approach on a forward thinking. We are trying to help the business owner grow. And so we want to make sure that your software is up to date 100% of the time. We're issuing financial statements every single month. We're meeting with you to go over those financial statements to help you as the business owner make decisions. And then guess what? It actually solves the past problem. So normally what happens is the business owner does nothing until it gets to the tax return. And then now the tax return has to charge them for catching up all of their accounting and doing the tax return. And so sometimes these tax bills are crazy, right? Yep. The cost of them. But
and it's already too late to make a difference.
And it's already you can't do anything. You can't do anything. It's like, oh yeah, you probably should have done that to help you on your taxes. You'll just have to do it this year. Whereas in our case, everything is present in the present tense in the future. And so now we can look ahead. Hey, you've got taxes coming up in 5 years or in 5 months. What decisions do you need to make to be able to help you with your taxes? And then not even on the tax side, but just hey, do we need to help you buy another building? In manufacturing firm, do we need to help you buy another building? Can we help you with bank? Do you need a line of credit? Again, that's all forward thinking to help you as the business owner grow the business. And that's kind of how I've sold it as separating us from other CPA firms.
No, I think it makes a whole lot of sense, especially if later on you're going to add on the tax side of the house.
Exactly.
Not only are we going to help prep you for it and build the right stuff, but do you work with a lot of the tax preparers for your clients right now? Like the people who are preparing taxes, I'm on a phone call with them and chatting about it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the tax, I've got a few people in my corner that I fully trust and refer them the tax work, and we're always talking when it comes to planning, and then also during tax time, making sure they're getting the right information.
Yeah. So most people think of tax preparers and accountants as a great person to go hang out with at dinner if you want to take a nap in the middle of dinner. So how do you kind of, but yet this is such an important part of what we're doing as a business. Any business owner, if you're not paying attention to how you're working your money, then your money is working you. You're not, you got to be in there and paying attention to doing the right things. How do you kind of make this exciting for people to kind of want to jump on a phone call with you? Because they should want to jump on a phone call with you and they should want to be a part of all this. But they're like, oh, I just don't want to think about the money. I don't want to think about all that stuff. It just just makes me want to go to sleep when I think about that, or pull my hair out, or whatever the case may be.
That's a great question. I mean, short answer is it is boring, right? It is. But what we found that if we can make the conversations interesting visually, and so instead of just handing them a report with a whole bunch of numbers on it, if we can give them some charts and graphs that gives a visual representation of where their company is. Hey, am I in the good or the bad? The red or the green? A little bit more reception to that because they understand that. But again, it depends on the business owner. We have a business owner, just manufacturing company, and understands the reports. And so wants the numbers in the black and white and gets it. And so it really depends on the client of how to make it interesting.
Yeah. It's like the difference between talking to an Army guy and an Air Force guy. The Army guy needs all the pictures they can get to really understand what's happening. They don't really understand. But the Air Force guy, they're like, yeah, you can give me all the data. No big deal. I get it. Yep. So totally get that in military speak, because I like to make fun of my military brothers and sisters. But anyways, I actually I'm going to completely shift gears here because my brain went to it, and I want to go back to, you had mentioned that you and your wife had both kind of grown up, it sounded like in church as well. Are you guys still in church? What sort of denomination are you guys? What, or belief system, I should say, do you have?
Yeah, we're in EPC, which is Episcopal Presbyterian. And yes, we are very heavily active in our church. My wife is involved with the kids program. My daughter sings in our church band. I run the sound booth for our church band. I do play guitar. I've yet to step on stage, more out of nervousness than anything else, but my daughter's pushing me to do that with her, so that might happen. And then so we're heavily involved in church, and then life group outside of church, and really active.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, by the end of this, I may have to throw a challenge out to you to make sure that you do get on stage before X amount of time. It's one of those things that
I know.
If you've been blessed with it, you might as well jump on it and see what comes of it. So
you're not the only person.
I'm sure I'm not. Strongly encouraging, I think, are the words that we're going for. You. Strongly encouraging, right?
Taken.
So as you're kind of raising kids in a world that may not view Christianity as the nicest thing in the world, how do you kind of view that as you're growing, as you're raising kids, and you're like, how do you kind of look at what some parts of the world have a view of our belief system and other parts do not? Like, how do you kind of train your kids up in a way that is healthily going into the world with clear eyes on what's actually happening out there?
Consistency. The key word is consistency. Making sure that if you're a once a month or once a quarter churchgoer, probably not going to instill the best trait within your child of making sure that they're in church and learning that aspect. And then consistency on always talking about it as a family, in our conversation, bringing it up and just intertwining it with life. In my opinion, that's what life is. And so making sure that, they're not afraid to talk about it, even to the point of going to restaurants and actually praying, taking your hat off and praying. Yeah. Even though everybody's around. So all of those, just being consistent about it so that your kids are exposed and understand it.
Yeah, love it. And it's I think a constant conversation all the time. And, Absolutely. Are you living it or not living it? If you're what we call one of my previous pastors years ago used to say is like, if you're a CEO Christian, then you're probably, you're not really giving the right example, the Christian and Easter only type of Christians, and CEO, but which always cracked me up. So, and did you guys grow up in Episcopalian Presbyterian?
We did.
No? Okay. How did you get to that church?
It's a long story. But I would probably say through college, through my father-in-law, so grew up fundamental Baptist, and then through college and my father-in-law just talking about, okay, let's take the Bible for what it's worth and think through what it's actually trying to tell us instead of boxing it with rules. And so
fundamental Baptist would never box everything in with rules. I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't happen in there.
No, not at all. And so just thinking through reading the Bible for myself and really thinking through what it's trying to tell me. And that kind of opened my eyes to not necessarily EPC, right? But I want to go to a church that's going to teach me the Bible and not, teach me the Bible. I'll leave it there. Teach me the Bible.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. And that's one of the things that, we've moved a lot, my wife and I, over the years. So having to find a new church every 2 to 3 years is one of those things like, all right, well, time to go find a good Bible preaching church. Like, it's exactly. Just find somewhere that's like, oh, let's go read through this book of the Bible. It's not like you either get like all of this extra stuff, this extra biblical stuff that they want to hold everybody to, or you get this just light, flowery, I'm going to read you one verse and then tell you stories about this one verse and never actually get to what the Bible's saying about that one verse. And it's like, there's got to be some churches here that are looking at this chapter of the Bible, reading through it, and then telling me like, what the heck? And it's such it's weird.
And same with the band, right? In the church, some of these churches you can go into, and it's a performance, and they're doing rock songs, and I'm like, how is that pointing that way? It just doesn't make sense. And so really felt that the worship team that we have at our church is just in sync and really just pointing upwards. So
In Sync, the boy band, that's your church.
Right.
I didn't know they were all jump into that. You're bringing me back. Oh man, I'm about to start singing over here and dancing. Dude, look out, everybody. But no, it's anybody. I mean, I'd love to chat with anybody that wants to talk about church or whatnot. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to chat about it. It's something I enjoy having conversations about.
Same.
There are so many different options out there, and a lot of them are just not very good, and especially when you look at some of the crazy things that have been going on in social media. Social media has pushed so many churches to be something that they're not, because it gets them likes and clicks instead of gets them, Jesus followers. It gets them followers, and it turns into this isn't a popularity contest. Like, we're supposed to be building followers of Jesus, not followers of ourselves. So call me crazy, but that's kind of the route we're going here. Anyways, I've always thought about trying to find more. I recently sat down. We're getting in the middle of a business acquisition, and one of the guys that I'll be partnering with is a Christian. And I had heard Ryan Pineda, I believe it was, talking about he's a entrepreneur, open about his Christianity. He was a former professional baseball player, semi-pro, and then trying to get professional. I think he played professional for a very short time. But anyways, that part doesn't matter. But he talked about, it took him a while to learn this part of it, but he's talking about how the Bible talks about being unequally yoked, right? Where, if you're a Christian marrying a non-Christian, it's very difficult. Like, I mean, that's just asking for a difficult life together. One of them may be passive, but it means that the other one is, going to be living a life. The passive one's going to be living a life they don't believe in, one way or another. And then he brought into the case of like, hey, we should be looking at that as our business partnerships as well. It's not just in your relationship with your spouse. Like, how can we look at that as a business partnership side of the house? And I was recently, like I said, I'm in the middle of the acquisition, and the guy was like, I only want to partner with other Christians. That, not that we don't have a need for an operating agreement and the LLC, but the fact that we are, brothers in Christ and shaking hands over this business means a whole lot more to us than that legal piece of paperwork over there that we're holding to that. And I was like, man, that's a strong thought process, and being able to work through that, and not necessarily looking for a question on this one, just a thought process as I'm working through it. I'm just curious where your head is at with that, what your thoughts are on that.
So I own, no, I don't own, I am a part of and have some equity in a real estate company. And my business owners are not. And one of those business owners is actually one of my best friends, who I think is going to be on your podcast here coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
We do business awesomely together. We were actually, when I was CFO, he was CEO of the same company, and we ran the business. Like, it was perfect. And through that, we became best friends. I've never been in a situation where I've been a partner with a Christian believer with me.
Yep.
So I couldn't answer that as to whether it would go smoother or the core values and beliefs would be any. I'm just thinking of my experience with the real estate company, and the values are the same with him, just because I know what he believes and stands for. So it's a difficult question for me. I don't know.
It's difficult for me too, because I've to your point, I've never really like specifically sought that out either. Like I've got plenty of business partners that are not Christians and don't necessarily have an issue with it. I've just been like, as I heard that and I started thinking about it, I'm like, I'm just curious what I think about it even. So as I've kind of broken it down in my head, I've sat there and looked at it and go, okay, well, I get it from one direction of like, okay, making sure that we're in line. We use EOS for one of my companies, right? So, and that brings us all on the same page with the same core values, the same focus, the same all of that stuff from the business aspect, right? And I'm not going to be a part of a company that has core values that go against my beliefs anyway. So it's like, okay, it doesn't mean that they're all Christians, but it means that at least the core values are in line with where I would want it to go. So to me, that's super important. And then what do you know? I may be able to have some of these conversations with some of those folks that leads them to go, oh, I love the way you do business. I didn't think about it that way. Maybe where do you get that from? And maybe it is because I'm a Christian. Maybe it's not because I'm a Christian. I don't know. But it opens up more conversation. So I've yet to figure out where I fully stand on that. But at least it's got me thinking and trying to ponder it a bit.
I will say my partner totally knows where I'm coming from. We've had conversations about it before. Respects everything that I believe. And it was unique that we were able to work together first before becoming business partners. Yeah. If you were to come to me today and said, hey, I've got this business acquisition, and what would you rather, a Christian or I think my answer would still be, I still need to see how this person works. Just because a Christian calls himself,
plenty of Christians that are bad business operators.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. So it would have to be a case by case scenario. I wouldn't say, oh, you're a Christian. Okay, I'm just automatically going to go with you. That wouldn't. I just don't.
Yeah. No, I love that you said it that way too, because it's one of those that if you're sitting there walking around with your particular blinders or set of glasses on, that you're only able to see things through your perspective, then man, oh man, are you missing out on some amazing opportunities. So, but again, I don't want to get in business with a bad, immoral person. Right. Whether they claim to be a Christian or not, that doesn't matter. Maybe one way or another. But you don't want to be in business with a bad, immoral person. But man, oh man, they may come in with some completely different business acumen than you because of their experience and where they're at. And as long as you guys are in line, then what the heck. I'm sure I'll keep pondering that over time and trying to figure out where my thoughts actually fully land on it. If I'll ever fully land on it, I don't know. But so with the business, are you planning to bring your kids? You said that they hear the phone calls. You said they hear all that stuff. So, and you want to expose them to different things. But are you planning at all to do more of bringing them in the business and being employed by the business? Maybe I know you talked about your oldest doing some work here and there. Great tax, great. I mean, you pay them less than what is it, $15,500 or $14,500 this year or something like that. And then they don't have to do their own taxes. They don't have to do any of that stuff. Plus, it's a write-off for you. You get employee, blah, blah, blah. Right. So all of the tax benefits of that, but also the benefits of teaching and working with your kids. What are your thoughts on bringing them into the business?
Depends on the kid. And I mean that with all respect to them. It's do they want to, sometimes the older ones want to be separate from the parents and go figure out life on their own, right? And learn from their bosses, which is fine if that's the direction they want to go. And my oldest has chosen to do that. She's doing landscaping right now for a company. And then she's going to be working starting October. She's going to be working at a equestrian barn, which is exactly right in her wheelhouse in her field of study. So I'm going to push that. Go ahead, go. Yeah. Now, if she came to me and said, Dad, I just want to stay at home and can you just teach me accounting and can you help me maybe work on some clients? Sure. Absolutely. And so could two of my kids, I could see that happening through college. And would I be more than, I would welcome them to be able to give them that.
Nice. Yeah. I I want to bring them in for multiple reasons. One is because I think I get some great homeschool stuff for my kids, right? Because they're at a younger age. They're not going to get a job somewhere else. At 10 and 6, I can bring them in for some cool homeschool stuff. My sister-in-law, I was just chatting with her last night about the business that I'm buying. And she was like, yeah, and you can have your kids put there, because I've been talking about this for so long and it's horrible that it hasn't happened yet. But I wanted to do a vending machine business for the kids. And it was like, boy, like they can put their vending machine in the front of my business. And then now I get to teach them about supply and demand and all of the stuff that goes along with it, and what the books look like and how you know which snacks to buy and all of the different things on a machine that's in my business that, like, sure, like, go for it. Let's bring them on in. So, I'm always trying to think of ways to be able to bring them in to be able to multiply their education level for school, as well as being able to even help the business on having them as an employee, get them their own Roth IRA as they're earning money and building it out and all the stuff. So more tax planning that you should talk to Ryan about. So
yeah, well, and one of those. So two things. One of them is I've been preaching at my kids real estate for they probably could say since I can remember. Just buying your house instead of renting, automatically just builds you up equity. Doing the if you can buy a house, and if you're not married yet, but buy a house and then rent it out to 2 roommates and have them pay the mortgage. Like, that's just so good. And so what'd you say?
I said for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that a friend and I are kind of doing this small joint venture thing. We're building a building on some land that's going to be a basketball court and some pitching cages for softball and a weight room and a couple other things. But already getting a lot of reception from the public of we really need this. There's not very much in our area. And so my kids have already been asking, hey, can we do the, clean, or can we run the if there's a vending area? So it's just starting, getting them engaged and teaching them. And if my kids are for it, then definitely we'll try to get them involved somehow, some way. Yeah.
Because again, they know the options there. As long as they're hearing it and know the options there, then you're in a better state.
Exactly.
You're putting them hopefully above where you were, and they put their kids above where they were, and it continues to grow on from there. Ryan, is there anything that we've been hitting on that you were like, hey, I really want to ask questions about this, or hey, this is a topic that I hope we would discuss?
No. The conversation's been going really well. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Awesome to hear. Of course. Yeah. So I really appreciate you spending some time hanging out. If I recall correctly, this is your first podcast. Is that right?
This is my first podcast. Yes.
Yay. Well, I think it went well. I think it was great. I really enjoyed the conversation. So if there's anybody listening and they're looking for somebody more in your line of work, what is the best way for them to be able to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So I give you my website. It's www.trillium, TRILLIUM-accounting.com. Or you can reach me by email, and that is simply ryan@trillium-accounting.com.
What is Trillium?
It is the Ohio State wildflower.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, Ohio State. So,
and if you log on to my website, the top part of my website is actually a picture of the Ohio State wildflower.
Very cool. So, for a national company, you're making everybody want to be a Ohioan, huh? I don't remember I think I told you on the pre-call, just me and Ohio State. I used to live out in Dayton, and I had an old boss that loved Ohio State, and he just really turned it off for me. But that's okay. That's okay. I won't hate you for it. His name was Ryan, though. So, yeah, it's a rough one.
Well, I am a Tar Heel fan through and through, so you won't have to worry about that.
Well, it just so happens I was living in North Carolina at the time I knew that Ryan. So, I'll at least pair you with a better portion of it. So,
all right, good.
Ryan, it was awesome to get to know you a bit more and share your story with everybody. If you're listening and you think that Ryan can be a big help for you, again, trillium-accounting.com, Ryan@trillium-accounting.com. I thank you so much for listening. I thank you for being a part of what we're trying to grow here. If you liked this conversation, please share it with somebody that you think will get something out of it. Again, if Ryan can be of any service to you, please reach out to Ryan. Ryan, thank you. Everybody listening, thank you. And we will see everybody on the next show.
Thank you so much for listening to the BizDad Podcast. We hope you found some value in your time here with us, and we look forward to bringing you the next episode. If you've enjoyed today's show, please subscribe and share so you and your friends won't miss our upcoming episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Rumble, where we continue these discussions and share more valuable content. Be the dad you know you need to be and run your business in a way you're proud to share with your kids. Keep crushing it.